In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said,
"Let there be light."
That stuff is flat.
Welcome to my 1K special. This is just a video to say thank you to all my subscribers, and yes, even you trolls, for everything you guys are doing and supporting my channel. I'm going to start off with one of the first videos I actually did on the channel, where I'm actually talking about boats going over a curve. Well, sit back and enjoy.
Welcome. On this video we will be learning how your eyesight will perceive the ship in the distance. Firstly, let's see how your eyes work. In this first image, you can see near objects will fill more of your field of vision. It will leave the image on the back of the retina. The further away objects will fill less of your field of vision and leaves a smaller image on the retina. Do you see how the field of vision angles change? This image of a ship is at level ground. You can see the angles of your eye in the colors. First, the red line is your level eyesight. That will stay level. Secondly, the blue line is the top eyesight view. That will change as the object you are looking at gets further away. Thirdly, the green line is the bottom view. This image would usually be the smallest and will keep getting smaller as the image vanishes into the distance. The smaller the angle, as the bottom viewpoint will vanish first as the angle will get smaller and smaller with the bottom of the ship. Thus the ship will appear to look as if the boat is going over a curve of water. That is not a curve but how your eyesight projects the ship going out of your view. You can always zoom back the ship with a strong enough lens, proving the ship is just out of your field of view and not over a curve. I will put a video showing how ships come back into view after it had gone out of your field of view.
You're so rude, what you do when it's tragic. How you, baby, run, run, baby, run, run. Baby, run, run, run away. Call me up, want my love, cause you miss me. Say you're sorry, you can't wait to kiss me. Then you, baby, run, run, baby, run, run. Baby, run, run, run away. And I know that I'm crazy, but you've got this hold on me, baby. So I'll go wherever you take me. I'll strap until we get to the end. If you're holding me too long, or your feelings come on too strong, that's the time that you, baby, run, run, baby, run, run, baby, run, run, run away. When you're happy and warm, or you're comfortable in my arms, that's the time that you, baby, run, run, baby, run, run, baby, run, run, run away. Take it up to the water's deep end. Guess you don't really know how to swim. So you, baby, run, run, baby, run, run. Baby, run, run, run away. I'm so close, gotta know what you're hiding. In your eyes, there's a monster you're fighting. I know how it feels when the devil's fighting. The thought sets me up. that I'm crazy that you've got this hold on me, baby. So I'll go wherever you take me. I'll strut until we get to the end. If you're holding me too long, or your feelings come on too strong, that's the time that you, baby, run, baby, run, baby, run away. When you're happy and warm, or you're comfortable in my arms, that's the time that you, baby, run, baby, run, baby, run away.
Man, I can't believe this was around 3 years ago when I first got into the flat earth. This was not my observation, by the way. I will leave the link of the video in the description box, and I think it pertains perfectly to the discussions we're having today. And I'm going to keep my 1K special theme with bottom-up obstruction, specifically to show you how funny the globe can be. So here I'm going to present the first globe, well, actually three. I call them the amigos because they think they are so smart, trying to debunk diffraction and bottom-up obstruction, while at the same breath debunking themselves and validating everything we said. It stuns me how ignorant people can be, or just woefully deceitful.
A link to his video will be in the description. Here it shows a Muppet vision. Sorry. Orthographic image of a human looking at another human. There is also some line from his eyeball to the feet of the human on the right, and also some ever-decreasing angles. By Jove, I think he's showing an orthographic representation of trigonometry, and using it to explain perspective. Well, blow me down with a feather if he hasn't just spent the past 3 years bleating on about how we never see the side of our own head, thus orthographic views are not reality, and here he is, using it to make his own point.
That's correct, Ranty. Orthographic representations is just that. A representation, not reality. Not hard to understand, dude.
That's a little bit naughty, isn't it? So what is he trying to say here? Well, he's saying that the further away the feet of the person on the right is, the smaller the angle gets.
The most limited angle is at the bottom. So if I expand this picture and make it further away, i.e. the guy on the left further from the guy on the right, that limitation becomes more and more acute. Smaller, the angle gets less as it gets further away, meaning that you lose more and more from the bottom up.
No shit, Sherlock.
That's his claim though, nothing else, just the feet, and so things will disappear from the bottom up. Holy cowbells, has he not also realised that the feet are connected to the legs? And that the legs are connected to the body and the body's connected to the head, and all of these will appear to get smaller in angular size the further away he walks.
So Ranty, you think because the feet is attached to the legs and so forth, because everything reduces in angular size, you think the feet doesn't reduce more due to the floor that's in front of it? The floor's angle is getting larger in front of the feet, Ranty, showing you ignorance.
I guess not. I guess he just thought that the human legs were going to fuck off on their own somewhere. But we know that isn't right, don't we, masturbator? Anyway, that was a cool story. Well, not quite. I have something to say about that. Okay then, the claim is that due to the limited angle, the brick at the bottom would disappear first the further away it goes. Let's put that to the test. I'm going to assume that both humans are 6 feet tall, and I'm going to assume that the other person is 100 meters away. Seems fair to me. Now let's change these humans for bricks so it's easier to understand. Let's make each human 6 bricks tall, so each brick is 1 foot. Now let's do some trig. Even though these bricks are actually, in reality, the same angular size, when observing them, there might be some changes. You know what? Masturbator is right about that. But how right is he? Well, the distance to the bottom brick is 100.02 meters. So yes, it is actually further away than the brick which is at the head height, and 100 meters away exactly. So that's an additional 2 inches. Now this tiny additional length will mean that the brick to the observer is a hair shorter in angular size. Well done. But why should we stop there? According to Masturbator, there is a massively wide angle here, but let's test that out. So in order to work this out, I have made the brick wall 106 feet tall. I then calculated 100 feet to represent 100 feet of bricks above the 6 feet to get a distance to that brick at the top of the wall. I was quite amazed to find out that the distance to that brick was not 100 meters. No. staggering 4.54 metres further away, at a length of 104.54 metres.
So Nathan was right then. At the top, further away. All you're doing is validating everything everybody says, Randy.
This means that the angular size of the brick at the top, visually, is far smaller than the brick at the bottom, which means that things are starting to disappear faster and starting to diffract faster from the top down.
Que me voy para Valencia, que ya va, que salgo esta tarde. Y va por la mitad, digo, no te quedan.
Every time I repeated this calculation, from anything above 12 feet, the angular size of the brick appeared smaller than the brick at the bottom. Who would have thought that would be the case? Did you, Masturbator? No, Masturbator. The most limited angle is at the top. The
Por la mitad, digo, no te quedan.
as it gets further away. Yes, the angle gets less as it gets further away. Meaning that you lose more and more and more from the bottom up. No, no, no. Meaning that you lose more and 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 more from the top down. In fact, every single measurement above 12 feet in height will have a smaller visual angular size than the brick at the bottom, no matter how far away it is, no matter how small the decimal. A brick at 13 feet high in reality will have a smaller angle visually than the brick on the floor. Always. No ifs, no buts. 100% measurable and provable.
Ah, the infamous Blackpool Swan image. Thank you, Ranty, for bringing this to our attention. Let's go by this image with your logic that you just brought, shall we? Well, it brings to mind a few problems. Problem 1. Ignoring the bottom angle. You do know that the ground is the largest angle here, don't you? Because it is closer to you. It has a much larger angle, and thus it goes over the smaller acute angle. So here we see the Blackpool occulting in front of the bottom of the mountains, and thanks to your how can I put it, rendition of the angular sizes and things vanish from top to bottom, you just admitted that this mountain is compressed due to your vanishing from top to bottom. So Ranty, which is it? Is the mountains compressed now, or is it not compressed? Because you did just say a few minutes ago that it is observable and provable. So let's recap. We get occultation because of what is really happening. The ground is due to perspective rising relative to eye level, and thus it's got a larger angle than the bottom, and this is why Blackpool has occulted over the mountains in the rear. Especially on the left, this is the reason why you see the ground in front of the base of the mountains. It has occulted because it has literally diffracted. Thank you, Ranty. You have just debunked your whole argument of Blackpool Tower. Keep it up, buddy.
So it looks like things disappearing from the bottom up have just gone down, go boom boom. Go down, go boom boom. All vertical objects such as telegraph poles, streetlights, houses, hotels, and skyscrapers will all disappear from the top down first. Don't believe me? Go and stand next to a skyscraper and see if you can see the top window. Hashtag, thanks Nathan.
Should be thank you, Ranty. Because of you, you just debunked the Blackpool Tower argument for the globe side. The mountain would be lower than Blackpool Tower, thanks.
Maybe we should get an expert in. Over to you, Ruhif.
Thanks, Ranty. I'm actually starting to wonder if any flat earther has ever applied the diffraction limit formula. Here it is in all its glory. Sine theta equals 1.22 times lambda, which is the wavelength of light, divided by d, which is the diameter of the circular aperture. And that can be your eyes, or a camera, or a telescope, or whatever you like. So let's apply Rayleigh's criterion to the Blackpool photo and see what we get. So here's the infamous left-hand side of the image, and I put a line on Bankhouse Moor, which is 311 metres above sea level, at a distance of 64.5 kilometres. So the goal here is to work out how much of that hill, in angular size terms, is below the horizon, and then compare that to the diffraction limit. So first up, we'll work out an angular size of the hill in its entirety. You can use one of the online calculators, or you can just take advantage of the small angle approximation and just divide the height by the distance to get the angular size in radians, and then just convert that to degrees by multiplying by 180 over pi. And we get an angular size of 0.276 degrees. Now if you saw my video from a few weeks back, you'll probably already know what's coming next. We're going to see where 0 metres above sea level is on the image. In that video, I used a few landmarks in Blackpool, like Blackpool Tower, but for this one, we've got two of the highest mountains in England in the background, Scafell and Scafell Pike, so let's use those. And if I go into Google Earth and draw lines of sight between the observer location and these mountains, I get a heading of 351.97 degrees to Scafell and a heading of 352.59 degrees to Scafell Pike, which means the angular distance between them is 0.62 degrees, and that's what I'm going to use as my scale. So, if this distance is 0.62 degrees, and we're trying to work out how big 0.276 degrees is, all we have to do is scale it against that line, which is a little bit less than half. And that's it there. Let's swing that line down to Bankhouse Moor to see where 0 metres above sea level is. And then we're just going to split that between what's above and what's below the horizon. So 0.1095 above the horizon and 0.1665 degrees below. Now we probably don't need to go any further. Obviously you can see plenty of detail, even in that really small angle above the horizon. So clearly we would be able to resolve plenty of detail below the horizon if the Earth wasn't getting in the way.
Thank you so much, Ruhuf. You might be very boring, but at least you're concise. Ranty and Ruhuf, you guys, next time if you want to do a partnership video, you might want to communicate with each other, because Ruhuf, you are going against what Ranty just said. Ranty said that the top angle is the one that's, well, compressing downwards, and you are saying the larger angle is the bottom, which has been our point this whole time, the reason we see diffraction. So you see, Ruhuf, you have just demonstrated that with perspective the ground rises relative to eye level, and because of that it has a larger angle, and thus it has diffracted over the smaller angle by the apparent horizon. Congratulations for debunking yet another claim by you guys.
But let's do the diffraction limit calculation anyway. So here's the formula again. Sine theta equals 1.22 times the wavelength of light divided by d, which is the effective aperture of the camera. For the wavelength of light, we'll use something in the middle of the visible spectrum, which is green light. So we'll use 532 nanometers. For the aperture size, we can actually go and check out the camera settings for when the Blackpool photo was taken. And to get the aperture size, you divide the focal length by the f-stop number, and that gives you 37.5 millimeters for d. Right, let's plug both of those into the formula. And we end up with a diffraction limit angle of 0.000991 degrees. And I'm fairly sure that the 0.000991 degrees we calculated is less than the 0.1665 degrees of that hill, which is below the horizon. By a factor of 168 times. And that's just how badly the diffraction limit failed to explain what we see.
Well, Ruhuf, if you really watched my presentation, the one you know you've been commenting on the whole time, you would realize how wrong you really are. The smaller angle has already reached its resolution limit, and as we all know, the angle of data, if it's equal or greater than delta sub 1, then it will compress over it, and thus it's diffracted, because that's why you see the larger angle, aka the ground. Thanks for showing ignorance once again. And I thought this might be a good chance to show another video I did, actually showing this with very simple demonstration. Well, sit back, enjoy.
But you
So you see, Ruhaf, it literally is proven now, thanks to you, that we would see bottom-up obstruction, because as you said, it is 168 times larger. So the large angle compresses over the small angle. Diffraction limit. Alright, that brings me on to our final amigo, Mr. Katz himself. Let's see what he has to say about the whole situation.
We have another expert sitting in the wings waiting to have his say. Over to you, Kat.
Well, hello, Nathan Oakley, my buddy. It's always good to speak to you. Do you remember when we had that nice little chat on Sleeping Warriors channel? It was really, really good fun. I really enjoyed it. What were we talking about now? Oh, that was it. Yes, diffraction, because you were telling people at the time that diffraction causes things to disappear bottom up. The only problem was, you didn't know what diffraction was. Ask one more time. What is diffraction? I'll give you 10 seconds. Go. What's diffraction? Oh, it's quiet. He doesn't know what diffraction is. To be fair, you didn't give him 10 seconds. I'll give you 10 seconds to Google it. Go on, what's diffraction? Good times, weren't they? We should really do that again sometime soon. Anyway, I do notice since then you have made a little bit of an effort at damage control in a series of videos where you've mentioned, but not explained correctly, diffraction even once. Some of my favourite quotes from you are that diffraction is the point at which interference occurs. Excellent, well done, and not correct. Another one... is that objects diffract into the distance, like it's the object itself that's diffracting. Absolutely stunned. So today I thought we might wind the clock back a little bit and just do this. Now, children, taking this mountain here, this is actually Dow Crack. Oh, apologies, Nathan, you can't see, can you? Let me put you in the picture. There we go, absolutely lovely. Now, can you tell me what you see? Top of
the mountain's far away. Bottom of the mountain is close.
Oh, Nathan, well done. I'm so proud of you. Did you find that hard? No, Nathan.
That's basic stuff, I think.
Now, Nathan.
What I'm going to do is, using the power of science, is I'm going to clone you. So there are now 3 Nathans. What would 3 Nathans want for Christmas, do you think? It would be 3 girlfriends. Now, one of the Nathan clones is a very brave little soul, and he's climbed all the way to the top of the mountain. Complete
Idiot.
I know it's
very dangerous up there. Now, the other Nathan is a little bit more clever, or lazy, and he sits at the bottom of the mountain. How long is this going to take? Nearly done, Nathan. Now, one last question. Which of the 2 clone Nathans will have the biggest angular size? The one at the top of the mountain, or the one at the bottom of the mountain? Bottom
of the mountain.
Exactly, Nathan. So why is it that you're telling people things disappear from the bottom up because of diffraction, when by your own admission, the bottom of the mountain is closer? Therefore, it should have the biggest angular size. It should be, in your strange little world of made-up physics, it should be the last thing to vanish, not the first. I'll leave you to tackle that.
Is that so, Cats? Maybe you should go back and listen to what Ruhaf and Ranty have been showing. Oh, and maybe you have forgotten the video that you were explaining the diffraction limit and, well, ignoring Aries discs.
If that's bigger than theta min, then I'll be able to resolve this part of the boat from this part of the boat. Maybe there's 2 little things here I want to resolve. And if the viewing angle between those 2 things is bigger than theta min, I can resolve them. If I want to resolve the bottom of the boat to the top of the boat, then I've got this entire angle. And if that is bigger than theta min, I'll be able to tell the top from the bottom. But nowhere, absolutely nowhere, does the Rayleigh criterion say it's got anything to do with things disappearing from the bottom.
This is an Aries disc. In essence, this was all you were explaining, Cats. An Aries disc is what causes the diffraction pattern. You see, each object has their own Airy disc. As soon as they move close to each other, and once the angle size is halved at the central maxima, this is when you get them unresolvable. So yes, Aries disc is diffraction limit. Okay, this is just representing the Airy disc and showing the values for the minima and the maxima. If you want to know how the values are set, you will have to go and study more on vessel function equation. I'm not going to go into any detail of that now, but this is literally just to show that Cat is very ignorant or woefully trying to deceive everybody. you can just see the wavelength of light going through the aperture. That would be the diameter there, and every angle is different. So the central maxim of an airy disk, when coincides with the min of another, it's what gives the diffraction limit. So put quite simply, the angle of data should be greater or equal to data sub 1. So if you want to work out the resolution limit, you would take the sine of the first angle, that's the data sub 1, to the first minima, and that is equal to 1.22 times the wavelength divided by the diameter of the aperture, and that is where you get your limited diffraction limit. So that would be the limited angle of which is resolvable, and thus you can no longer see anything beyond that marker. So simply put, this is the reason why we see bottom-up obstruction with things going into the distance, as the larger close angle, the deck, is compressing over the smaller further away angle of the ship's hull, because the resolution angle is just too limited to be able to resolve, and in essence it's just too much pixels crammed into one small area. Well, I will go into more detail in this in a future video. Just thank you for watching. I just had to point out that Katz is either willfully ignorant and trying to deceive everyone, or is just, well, ignorant. Thank you for watching. God bless. Remember, we are on a stationary horizontal plane. So the three amigos, which they call themselves the Reapers of Death, has just, well, killed the globe. Thank you, three amigos. Ranty proving things compress from top to bottom in the distance. Ruhuf proving things compress from the bottom due to the limited and larger angle. And Katz explaining diffraction as he tries and ignores the bottom angle. So thank you, you three stooges. You amigos have just demolished your own globe. Whoops, I almost forgot about Mr. Mr. Sensible. You know, I better put him in here since he really wanted to be in badly. Just now he called the police on me. You know how it goes with him.
VT. Finally, a knowledgeable and detailed flat earth explanation for why the bottom of ships disappear before the rest. Well, the first thing that springs to mind is that you're talking out of your hairy little arse.
Wow, you showed me. We should end this video right here. Anyway, Mr. Sensitive, or whatever your name is, would you please be so kind as to tell everybody why you leave out the important clips? You know, like the sun vanishing in the distance above the apparent horizon, which is, well, impossible on your globe. Well, let's get to what he says about pixelation. Hi, and welcome to my presentation on why we see bottom-up obstruction in the distance.
Excellent. Break it down for us.
We start with pixels for a reason. Let's get to it. Okay, the reason I'm starting with the pixels is because it's a good foundation of everything we talk about.
Has it? Why?
Because, let's face it, everything that's got to do with an image has got to do with a pixel.
Well, I'd have thought...
That depends what sort of an image, because an oil painting hasn't got any pixels. Never mind, proceed with your learnings.
Congratulations, yes, a painting is definitely not pixels. But, Mr. Sensitive, do we observe with oil paintings, or do we observe with cameras and lenses? You know, no, you even look through that poor oil painting on your phone probably, or your computer, which would be pixels. So try again. If you have a basic understanding of a pixel, it will just make it clearer for you.
Well, it's a good job
that you have flatzoid, haven't you? Okay, so what you need
to know is a pixel. It consists of a RGB scale. R would be the red, G would be the green, and the B would be the blue.
Okay.
Got that? So the intensity
of these color variations create the image, and the pixels have a density which they call DPI, which is density per inch.
What you talking about, Willis?
Pixels have a density which they call DPI, which is density per inch.
They don't. DPI stands for dots per inch.
Again, it's taken in context, Mr. Sensible. Imagery. You do know DPI is only used for printing purposes, as in dots per inch is for a print, not on your screen, otherwise it will still be pixelizations. So yes, density, okay, density of dots and density of pixels. If you don't believe me, what? Let's see what someone else has to say about it.
Input and output size. So the input size is basically the pixel measurement of your photo. It's a digital measurement, so 4800 by 3600 pixels. The output size is the size of the media that you're going to print your photo on. So if you want...
Okay, this is where you pay close attention now, Mr. Sensitive. You do know I was a graphic designer for over 10 years, correct?
To print a picture on a 10 by 8 inch size photograph, then the output size is going to be 10 by 8 inches because the picture is going to cover a 10 by 8 inch size paper. So how can you tell if a 4800 by 3600 pixel photo is going to be good enough for a 10 by 8 inch size print? This is when the terms PPI and DPI come into the game. They are also called pixel density. So pixel density. So pixel density. So pixel density. So
density, which they call DPI, which is density per inch.
What you talking about, Willis?
Pixels have a density which they call DPI, which is density per inch.
They don't. DPI.
Pixel density. So
density, which they call DPI, which is density per inch.
Pixel density. So PPI and DPI, which is pixels per inch or dots per inch, are used interchangeably even in the professional community, but they refer to a different measurement. They're very similar, but they mean a different thing.
So, Mr. Sensitive, this is what happens when an ignoramus as yourself wants to come and tell me, a person who was in the marketing and advertising game for over 10 years as a graphic designer, I don't know what pixels and density is. It's very simple. I said density per inch because dots is literally just for printing. So yes, it is pixel density. Okay? Simply, you just can't grasp the fact that we have density of pixels. If the information is unresolvable, it's unresolvable. Well, I could go on for hours and hours, but I think it's time to end the stream. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's watched the 1K special. I hope that everybody takes everything with their own deductive reasoning, and please don't listen to the Three Amigos and Mr. Sensitive. As you've seen, they are literally just ignoramus globe trolls. Thank you for watching. God bless. I'm going to play this out with an awesome old Flat Earth song from Beatfreaks. Please subscribe to his channel. I'm going to put a link in the box below. Bye.
All she did was walk away.
And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.